So in this video, I'm going to give you a hopefully relatively simple explanation about how to do attention training. Okay, so attention training is not something that I've made up. It was developed by a guy called Adrian Wells and his colleagues at the Metacognitive Institute in Manchester in the UK. And they've done lots of research and trials and tests with it. And the thing about doing attention training is it strengthens your ability to choose what you pay attention to. So when you maybe have an intrusive thought or sensation or something that crops up that you don't like, you can choose to go, oh, actually, I think I'll just carry on paying attention to the article I was reading, or I'll carry on paying attention to doing up my shoelace. Whatever it is you were doing, you can switch your attention back to, or you're going to switch your attention externally. Oh, look at the trees. I'm going to let that thought be there, but I'm going to pay attention to the sound of the birds singing, right? This is the aim of attention training. It's to put you back in charge of what you pay attention to. And actually, generally, we're not super good at this, particularly anymore, because we have so many things competing for our attention. Adverts, text pinging up, knocks on the door, but particularly because we use so much screen time and there's always stuff popping up on your phone. I'm sure you have that experience where you go onto your phone to do one thing and then suddenly you realise you're busy doing something else because something cropped up. It took your attention and you went with it rather than choosing to be in control of what you were paying attention to. So the great thing about attention training is that it allows you to train yourself by doing it with things that are just not scary to you. We're going to use sounds in order to train your attention, rather than trying to train yourself in the presence of something that you find scary, like a thought or a sensation or an image. We're using something that isn't scary at all. So it's really good training ground because it's not getting confused with all the fear and the discomfort. Okay, so sometimes when I talk to people about this, what I find is that they don't always buy into the idea to start with, because you are not directly working on your OCD, if you think about it, because we're taking it away from your OCD and we're making it simpler by getting you to train yourself using sounds. So, but what I can say about this is that when people do regularly do it, once or twice a day for 3 or 4 weeks, you will find that you have got control back of what you pay attention to, and it will automatically shift into the realm of when you have a thought or an idea or something that comes in that you don't like, you will automatically be better at switching your attention onto something else and letting that thought, idea, image, sensation take care of itself, which after all is the goal that we're always coming back to, right? Okay, so how do you do this attention training? Now, this is a sort of slightly simplified version, partly because it's quite hard to do on here, and partly because I find the simpler you make something, the more likely it is that someone's actually going to do it. Okay, so we are using, as I said, sounds. So what you need to do in order to do this is have at least 2 competing sounds, right? So for example, I have over here an iPad, and I'm going to put, in a minute to show you, I'm going to put a podcast on there. And then over here, from my phone, over this side somewhere, I will play a song. Okay? And what I'm then going to do is I'm going to sort of think of one as number 1, one as number 2, or A and B. Okay? And then I am going to choose to listen to A. So I will listen to the music, A. I'm going to choose to pay attention to that for, say, like 30 seconds. Okay? And then, when 30 seconds is up, and you can time this if you want, I'm going to choose to pay attention to B. I'm just simply going to switch my attention from one thing to the other. Now, one of the tricks is do not look at the thing that you're listening to. Just pick a random spot in the distance or on the wall. Stare into space, okay? Because we're using your ears, not your eyes here, okay? So I will pay attention to that one, and then after a while, I'm going to pay attention to the other one. What you'll find, probably, when you first do this, is it's really hard. This is where I find it really hard, okay? you'll be listening to one thing, then your attention will keep going over there, and then your attention will go off to something else in your head. Oh my gosh, I forgot to put bread on the shopping list. Or, oh, I just felt funny. Your attention's going to be all over the place. That's fine. We don't expect you to be brilliant at this, okay? That's why we call it attention training, all right? So every time you notice your attention has gone off from whatever it is you were meant to be paying attention to, i.e. the music or the podcast in my case, right? If I'm on the music and I notice I'm listening to podcasts or thinking about my mother's birthday present or whatever, I'm simply going to go, oops, and put my attention back onto the music, all right? I'm not going to try and get rid of the other thing. I'm not going to tell myself off for being rubbish at it. I'm just going to go, oh, whoops, right, retrain. Every time your attention wanders off and you bring it back, even if you have to do it every second, every time you do it, you are strengthening your ability to do it, okay? So you do not have to be good at this, all right? So I'm just going to play it. It'll be probably a bit of a cacophony on here, but I'm just going to do it so that you can see what I'm talking about. But I'm going to do a slightly faster version so I don't take up too much time. So here we go. I will put on a podcast, hopefully.
Has done some incredible
over there. I don't even know if you can hear this.
Like
and I'm going to play music
body dysmorphic disorder,
over here.
And specific phobias like emetophobia, which is the fear of vomiting.
So then all I'm going to do is choose, okay, this is my 30 seconds for the music. And I'm going to try and listen to that. Okay, then when it's time, I'm going to choose to try and listen, pay attention to the podcast. And then I'm going to go backwards and forwards. Okay?
Actually works within the NHS and in the private.
Right, so I'm going to go backwards and forwards. So I would set up for about think of it doing this for 5 to 10 minutes. 30 seconds here, switch, 30 seconds there. Don't worry, like I said, if you're no good at it, you will get better, I promise you. So the question is, can you see how this could be helpful for you in learning to deal with your OCD differently, right? If we can choose what we pay attention to, when our attention gets grabbed by a funny groinal sensation or a thought that we find horrendous or whatever, when our attention gets grabbed, we can go, do you know what, actually, I'm going to pay attention over there, thanks very much. I'll just leave you to get on with it on your own, right? That's what we're trying to help you to be able to do. And this is a really effective way of doing that. And I've seen people use this, go from having years and years of going down rabbit holes with their OCD to practicing this for sort of 4 weeks and being like, yeah, I kind of feel okay now. So I'm not saying this is a cure-all, okay? And definitely you want to also, don't think I'm going to do this and I'm not going to do any exposure. No. But yeah, if you do it, you will find it super helpful. And it's helpful even when doing exposures, right? Because then if you've been training your attention, when you do an exposure and you're feeling like, your distress levels are high and you're wanting to get, your brain's trying to get you into thinking about stuff and worrying, you can go, no, I'm choosing not to pay attention to that. Thank you very much. Okay, so that's how this works. Important things to remember. Okay, different sounds, doesn't have to be what I use. You can run a tap if you want, or listen to the birds chirping outside. I mean, what you just want is sounds in different places in the room, okay? And you're using your ears, not your eyes, all right? You are switching your attention. You are never trying to push one noise away. I never said you mustn't hear one thing. Of course you're going to hear them both, right? But it's just about what you're choosing to try and make your attention be focused on, all right? Anything important that I've missed? I think those are the main things. Okay, so you will probably find that there's some other information that you could get on this. Like I said, this is a slightly simplified version. And again, I would recommend starting off by setting this up and saying, right, today, every day, I'm doing 5 minutes of this, right? As you get better at it, you can start to go, okay, well, when I'm on the bus on the way to work, I'm going to try and listen to their conversation, and then it's a bit cheeky, but anyway, I'm going to try and listen to the sound of the conversations, and then I'm going to try and listen to the sound of the traffic outside. And you can use real environmental things to practice switching your attention. So it doesn't always have to be done in a sort of setup, but I would advise you to start like that, because then it's going to be easier for you, because you're really going to be able to concentrate, have some peace and quiet, know what you're trying to achieve. Okay, so practice that. I would say it'd be really interesting to keep a little note when you start, how you get on with it, to 4 weeks later. How good are you? How much better are you at it? Is it starting to make it much easier for you to switch your attention away from things that you don't like when they crop up for you? So give it a go and see how you get on.